Roger, Roger, Greg. What's your location again?
Well, it's Highland, Illinois. Highland, Illinois, which is about 25 air miles east of St. Louis, over.
Oh, Roger, Roger. I'm about 150 miles from this repeater in London, Kentucky. What would your destination or your distance be from this repeater?
Well, I looked it up earlier, and as close as I could figure, about 313 miles.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Well, you got me beat by about double tonight, Roger.
Yeah. The reason I got to checking down around there is I'm a control op on a UHF repeater up here, and we heard some digital artifacts coming in, and I got to looking in the repeater book, and the only thing I could figure out was it was the repeater down there in London, which is DMR. So then I looked around a little more and found the 2-meter machine down there at the same, down in London, and I dialed it up, stuck the tone in, and lo and behold, here it was, and, for whatever it's worth, it's full scale this evening, and I don't believe I've ever talked on this repeater before.
Roger, Roger. Well, I've not heard any digital out of this repeater, and I've worked this repeater a lot. Richard's a good friend who runs the repeater, and I just may have missed it, but I didn't know that it was a digital as well as analog.
Okay, no, sir. I don't mean to imply that. There's a machine there on 443.200, and the repeater that I monitor anytime I'm near a radio up here is 443.200, which is in Maryville, Illinois. And usually we don't hear anything on that frequency. And tonight I was hearing something, and it was digital. I can tell you it wasn't Fusion or C4 FM because I have a Fusion radio. I believe it to be DMR, and I believe it to be the London repeater that's on UHF, 443.200.
Roger, I never have worked that. That is usually not a good, UHF doesn't bend. So when you get past 60 miles, usually UHF is pretty dead. But and so I've never really worked that, mainly just this one, Roger, Roger.
Well, I can tell you it's working really good this evening. It's bending on right around on 2 meters because I punched London up, and then I did a check back to Highland, Illinois, and it showed it right at 313 miles. So might be a record for me from the current QTH here. I don't have but a modest antenna about 20 foot in the air, so it's got to be band enhancement. Over.
Roger that. I usually get about maybe 4, 5, 6 lights off this repeater, and tonight I've got a peg out on this one, so maybe UHF is pretty active too. I remember about a year ago I got this real hot UHF signal, and finally I tracked it down to Miamisburg, Ohio, and that signal was a peg out for about 3 weeks, 24 hours a day. I don't know what was up with that, but it was a peg out for about 3 solid weeks. I met probably about 15 or 20 guys down there, became part of the family, and it was just weird, and I checked other repeaters along the way from here to there, and in Miamisburg, UHFs, and nothing but just this one repeater, Roger.
Now the wonder of RF, sometimes it does some amazing stuff, and I know it's really been neat throughout the years. I'm a relatively newcomer since '95, but I know. Well, back then we used to have a net on a UHF machine that we'd actually have in which was just east of St. Louis again, and we used to have folks check in from Kansas City and even a little west sometimes on the evenings when the net was up and running. So occasionally it does open up, and but 2 meters obviously does it way more than UHF does. So what was your call again, sir? I missed your call.
Roger, the call here is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, KC9VKV. The name is Jim, and we are located about 3 miles west of Louisville, about 3 miles west of Louisville, about 150 miles from this repeater. And again, your call, sir?
KB9KLC, and the name on this end, Greg, Golf, Romeo, Echo, Golf. And it is starting to die out down here on my end, Jim, so I'll say 73 to you before we lose it, and it drops out anymore. And have a good evening. Certainly a pleasure to work you this evening. I'm almost pretty sure you're my furthest contact, even through a repeater on 2 meters, so good deal. Anyway, have a good evening out that way. Hopefully we'll get to do it again. I think I'll go ahead and stick this in memory just because. Anyway, take care, Jim. 73. KC9VKV. This is KB9KLC.
Roger, Greg. Just FYI, we do have a YouTube page called Qso-Vlog. It's dedicated to amateur radio. We've got about 60 of those Qso-Vlogs at the moment, and we are rolling tape tonight on this Qso, and just to let you know there. So if you would like to hear what you sound like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up about 60 Qsos there, and I'll probably paste this one in there tonight, so it should be there by in the morning, so it'll document it. And again, I had a local station come up an ID right when you were giving your call sign. Could you give me your call sign again, sir?
Yeah, I sure will, Jim. The call on this end is Kilo Bravo 9 Kilo Lima Charlie, KB9KLC.
Roger. And again, for the record, your location is?
Highland, Illinois. Highland.
Roger. And your estimation of your location from a distance from this repeater is how many miles?
As close as I could put it on Google Maps, about 313 miles.
Roger. So again, Mother Nature smiles upon us, you know, and it's like I was telling some other guys up in Cincinnati tonight, it's lovely to be able to take advantage of Mother Nature when she wants to be taken advantage of, but if you have a specific place in mind, Mother Nature will never let you go there. So as long as you don't have a preconceived, agenda, it all works out, Roger.
That's right. If I was hunting you, I'd have never been able to find you tonight. But, Mother Nature said, you know what, let's connect these guys. So, powerful force, and however frustrating she is at times, she's also pretty wonderful too, Jim.
Roger. And what is your station? Could you tell me just a little bit about your station?
Yeah, I got an FTM 400D Yaesu. My antenna is about 20 feet in the air, and it's the smallest dual band diamond they make. I forget the model number of it, but it's only about 5 or 6 feet tall. Roger.
Well, usually the problem with those omnidirectionals is if you do have conditions, when you're omni, you shake so many trees that sometimes it's hard to separate them. But it's looking out tonight that neither one of us are kicking up any other repeaters too bad, and it's almost like I've got a peg out tonight, and it's just reach out and touch time,
Well, I can tell you the conduit between myself and this machine is pretty good. I guess there's not another one in my area around here that's either untoned, and obviously it shouldn't have the same tone. I don't think we've got anything around here that uses the same tone this repeater does. Ours are generally over in Missouri. They're 141.3, and most of them over here are 103.5. So, or a lot of them are. But at any rate, yeah, I'm glad that there's a repeater in Mexico, Missouri. I've been trying to work, and unfortunately, they're not toned, and the one I keep bringing up's not either. So. I know I've heard guys talk on that machine, but I can never seem to hold a decent QSO because there's a smaller, low-profile machine closer to me that keeps coming up when I keep trying to talk to the one further out. So, yeah, like you said, sometimes it creates quite a hornet's nest when the band opens up, and this one here, it just seemed like, nope, we're going to let you guys talk tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Richard's drip, he's been having trouble with his drip. He changed his, I think he changed his control head and lost his drip. And then he finally got it back a couple of days ago. And I think it's just such a classic little enunciator.
You know, my wife, XYO, who is not a ham radio operator, even commented on the courtesy tone. And how it's more soothing and not as aggravating as some of the other ones are. So there, from a non-ham, you have it. Even other people like the courtesy tone, the drip, if you will. I like it. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's characteristic of Richard, a unique individual and a really nice repeater. This repeater just got moved location-wise from where it was to a location, I think it's about 200 feet higher above sea level than where he was. It's on a mountain called Raccoon Mountain. And he's been working real hard to get his repeater back together again, and I think he's exceeded himself tonight, Roger.
Well, I sure hope he hears about this, and I understand about Mother Nature, but you know that's quite a testament. You know, the best compliment you can pay a repeater owner is talk. Get on there and use the thing, because that's why they go through the effort. You know, it's terrible when they go through the effort and nobody shows up. And I told my buddy Jeff not long ago, you know, if you build it, they will come. And, you know, that's exactly what's happened. So, and here I am up here just happenstance because I heard something else on a UHF frequency. I did a little investigation and found a 2-meter repeater there and dialed up the frequency and the tone and punched it in. And when I first keyed it up, I even said, that can't be right. That repeater's full scale. And lo and behold, I switched the tone to something else, and then it didn't come up. And I said, well, that's got to be it. And obviously it is a repeater on Raccoon Mountain, which was the one I was trying to find.
Roger. Sometimes finding those PLs can be really difficult. Yaesu, my 2900, lets me change the PL tone in the transmit mode. So if I've got some... you know, if the repeater's not being used, I can just key and roll through some of the PLs and listen, and then roll through some more till, I mean, it's like cracking a safe sometimes.
Well, this radio here is pretty new for me, and it took me a minute to figure out where everything was in the menus, but now that I finally have it figured out, I can get in there and dial it around pretty quick. But like you said, sometimes it's trying to crack it. I've got an ICOM 880, and I still got to fumble with it every now and then to figure out and remember how to do the PL tones. I've actually got the instruction book in my phone a couple times because I don't change it very much. You know, I programmed it and it's out in my truck, and you know we don't mess with it much going down the road, but. The Yaesu, I got pretty adept with it, and it's actually pretty easy now that, it was real hard when I first bought it, and now it's obviously easier.
Roger. My Elmer gave me a Kenwood dual band radio, and oh, that radio is, there's nothing intuitive about the operation of that radio, and there's nothing intuitive about the owner's manual, which is about 1.5 inches thick, And you know, normally they will give you the somewhere in the first few pages they'll give you a picture of the front of the radio, and you know, with bullets and arrows and things to tell you what each thing does. Not this one, not Kenwood on this deal. And then you know, a couple of pages past that they'll give you another picture of the back of the radio and all kinds of arrows to this and that and what they do. Not this radio. This is literally the radio from hell, I think, and that's why I think he gave it to me. Greg, I've got a local station, a local repeater on this frequency, and when it IDs, you know, it obviously just wipes out everything. I missed your last.
I was curious to the model number of the Kenwood.
I think it's something 330 or 3300 or something like that.
Okay, I might not be familiar with that. That could be older. So, yeah, I know a lot of the older Kenwoods, especially, were cantankerous, and especially if you're used to programming anything else. But well, anyway, it sure is working tonight, and it made it possible for us to talk. So I like it. Anyway, Jim, I need to let you go. It's I need to, like I said, it's dropping off a little bit, and I need to almost retire for the evening. So I want to say take care, best 73 to you and yours up that way. Thank you for the Qso this evening. I'll be looking in the morning on YouTube for the, I'll punch in your call and do a search, and look forward to hearing the Qso and sharing it with my son, who just got licensed last May. Excuse me, and some other things. So you take care up around Louisville, Jim. Good to hear you, and man, hope we get to do it again. Anyway, take care. KC9VKV, this is KB9KLC.
Roger, Roger. And give me your call one more time, slowly, and phonetics, please.
Kilo Bravo 9 Kilo Lima Charlie.
Great, Greg. Appreciate that so much. And let me say threes, and really enjoyed the Qso. We will get it posted. And if you do the call later search, it should be there if, with any luck at all. So we'll say threes, and you have a real good night. And this KC9VKV will be clear. Tim, yeah, come back with the call again, please.
Now this is Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Victor X-Ray, and I'm about 15 miles east of Mount Sterling, Kentucky. There, Roger.
73 degrees.
Roger. Well, our young lady stepped on you there. Richard's got it set up where I could still copy you, but you were reduced volume-wise, so she could give her information. You're in Sterling, Kentucky, is that a Roger?
Well, I'm about 15 miles east of Mount Sterling, Kentucky. I'm in a little town called Means, Kentucky. That's Mike Echo Alpha November Sierra. And yeah, I'm talking on the London repeater. I've got a 5-element YAGI pointed down there, and I've got a real good copy on you tonight, Jim. Back to you, over.
Roger, Roger, Tim. What would you estimate that your distance from the London repeater would be?
Hey, Roger, Jim. I'm about 60 miles there, about 60 air miles there, Roger.
Roger, well, you're doing a real good job tonight. Do you normally copy the London repeater?
Yeah, I just found this repeater a couple days ago, and I've been talking on it with the YAGI. And I'm filming you right now for my YouTube video there, Roger.
Well, listen, this is a shootout because I'm filming you for YouTube, Roger. It's my page is called Qso-Vlog. Qso-Vlog on YouTube. You do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll bring up our Qso-Vlogs. We're at about 60 so far, Roger.
Hey, Roger, let me see if I got your call sign right. You are Kilo Charlie 9, Kilo Charlie Victor. Is that a Roger, over?
Negative. Last part, Victor, Kilo Victor. Very kind vampire.
Roger, that's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor. Is that a Roger, Jim, over?
That's a Roger Roger there. And what's your YouTube page? How do you do that?
Hey, Roger, I'm Red Fox Media on YouTube, and just type in Red Fox Media, and you'll see a red fox there, a little tiny red fox on the right with a movie camera, and you'll find me up there. But I have checked your videos out before. I talked to you about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, and I went to your YouTube channel there and saw your videos where you taped AC4YD, AC4YD, I think it is, Daryl in Winchester, Kentucky there, Roger.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Daryl's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for quite a few years, and he has a really outstanding repeater operation up that way, Roger.
Hey, Roger. Yeah, I talk on his repeater every now and then, and yeah, he's a great guy. But anyway, I'm glad to make the contact with you. And what's your QTH there, Jim? Over.
We are 3 miles west of Louisville. 3 miles west of downtown Louisville on the Indiana side of the beautiful Ohio River, Roger.
Hey, Roger, on that, Jim. Okay, well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. And I just found this repeater a couple of days ago, so I'm going to be leaving the beam pointed down there and talk to all these fellows down there off the London machine. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, Jim, and I'll say, going to say 73s. It's getting about my bedtime. And looking forward to talking to you again. So I will say 73s, and you have a fine evening there, what's left of it there, Jim. So Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, this is Kilo Mike 4, Yankee Victor X-ray. I'll be clear on your final there, Jim, 73.
Roger, Roger, Tim. Good to talk at you, sir. And your station sounds beautiful coming through the London repeater. I get a peg out all the way, all the time tonight. Just extremely good transmission coming out of that London repeater. And good to make your acquaintance again, and hopefully we can hook up down the road some. So 3s tonight. To have a real good evening, and we'll catch you later. And this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor.
Hey, Roger, 73, Jim. KM4YVX clear.
This is Kilo Charlie 4 Zulu Mike Zulu in Goshen, Kentucky.
Why, hello, Bill. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I was coming home earlier in the car, and I noticed this frequency kept stopping when I was, or my scans kept stopping on this memory channel when I was driving every now and then, and I was noticing the signal bouncing in. I figured it was London, and I thought I'd turn the radio on here and see what was going on, and lo and behold, there you were.
Roger, I talked down to London quite a bit. Richard's got a real good repeater, and tonight it's been exceptional getting a peg out. He is about 150 some odd miles from my location, and we had a gentleman check in earlier tonight that was, I think he said 300 miles away. So I said, well, you got me beat by 2.
Yeah, that's a pretty good distance. I haven't been on here in a while. It's been, golly, probably close to a year since I've been on the London repeater. But I'd like to say, I unless the band's open, I'm kind of marginal into it with this. I've just got an omnidirectional antenna here. I don't have my beam up there, so it's working tonight. Though I've got it's bouncing between a +10 and a +20 on my S meter here.
Roger, well, you're making it down to London. You're just like a local down there, full quieting and good audio, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if I drop the power, how low I can go before it starts getting fuzzy.
No, we don't do that. We don't drop power. It's full steam ahead, because you never know when all of a sudden the bottom's going to fall out and you're going to be fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, I know, but it's always fun. There's half power there, so I don't know. Am I still making it? I'll jump it back up.
You started to pick up a little noise there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just curious. This radio I've got, you can change the power settings 1 watt at a time. So got 50 different power settings that way.
Is that right? You can change the wattage 1 watt at a time?
Yeah, just rotate the little knob there, and it'll drop, or increment or decrement by 1 watt.
And 1 watt minimum?
Well, I should take that back. Yeah, I think 5 watts minimum. So I wish it would go down to 1 watt, but it won't. So not quite 50 increments. I guess it's only about 45 or 40. Yeah, I guess 45, 46. But yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to just adjust it wherever you want it there.
Roger. And what kind of radio is that?
It's a Yaesu FT991.
Roger, roger. And is that just a VHF radio?
Negative. It replaced the 897, which I have also. That's what I was using at field day on 6 meters.